Boom. You thought I was going to say bang, but I said boom. Hoka Cielo X1 2.0 in the house for testing. Now, if you are a running shoe enthusiast, if you're looking for a new carbon racer, you better make sure you're on the Supple app, because the Supple app is the best buy, sell, and trade running shoe marketplace out there. It's also the best hobby jogger community. I got my pair of Pegasus Premium on the Supple app. I use my own app to get shoes. I'm gonna keep it brief today. Just make sure you're on the Supple app if you have any interest in the community and culture of running shoes. It's the best place to be. It's also the most positive, supportive place on the internet. We got sickos getting after it left and right. All right, enjoy today's video. Cut the gosh dang beat, man. Cut it. We're keeping the pressure on them this week. Peg Premium yesterday, Cielo X1 2.0 today. The name doesn't even make sense, but we're still going to review it. We're keeping the pressure on them. It's Valentine's Day week. We got to do it for the love of the game. We're making love to the ShoeTube streets. All right, bro. Cielo X1, you already know. This thing was a complete... Boom. That's the right lighting. I had to change the light setting. This thing was a complete banger. This was one of the shoes that put me on the map last year. So I always have a special place in my heart for this shoe. This and the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4, man. There's a few things that really popped this channel off. It was going to the running event in 2023. It was getting the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4, the REI collaboration, getting that before it came out. Somehow there was a little leak or something on the REI website, and then I was the only one who had it, and it just popped. And then this, I somehow was able to get this a day before the embargo broke. And it was actually the same day that Roni was born. So this was the shoe that changed my style. This is the shoe that I used, and it started, I always remember, man, I started doing the outside street podium reviews. I started getting out of the house, doing more vlog style videos, and that's what this reminds me of, getting out of this office and developing the style. So what is this shoe other than me talking about emotional things? This is Carbon County mixed with Max Cushion Gang. So we have a carbon plate here. It's a race shoe. It's a fast, bouncy shoe, but it also has a lot of comfort. And the trick here is Hoka stuffs a bunch of foam in the middle. They stuff a bunch of foam in the middle to get around the rules that racing shoes have to have below 40 millimeters of foam in the back. So that creates a heavier shoe because you do have more foam, but more protective, more bounce, more fun. This was one of the most beloved race shoes in the hobby jogger community last year. This made my top 5. I used this for a bunch of long runs. Some people said it wasn't a real race shoe, but I don't know what those people are talking about, man. But I'm also typically not... I'm not that affected by lightweight or heavyweight. I would rather have a heavy shoe if it's supportive, denser, bouncier than a light shoe that offers no stability. And that's why I advise for most people, man, look at this and look at this. Or look at this, right? So on the right here, two of the fastest shoes on the market right now. Adidas Adios 9. We'll weigh this thing in, but it's super lightweight. It's probably around 170 grams. Asics Metaspeed Sky Paris, one of the lightest weight racing shoes. This is about 195 grams. And then you have the Cielo X1, which is all the way up at 260 grams. However, the heavier a shoe is, typically that means it's going to be wider. That means the foam is going to be denser typically, or there's more support, there's more comfort on the upper. So you can't look at weight in a vacuum. And for most people out there, having a 5% difference on a race shoe, if you're not going I'm not even going to put a time to it. For most people out there, regardless of your time, the marginal difference in performance that you're going to get, especially on the marathon from a lighter or heavier shoe, is so minimal or null compared to having a platform that gives you comfort and confidence. That's what it's all about for me when picking a marathon shoe and when picking a shoe to train in. We want to have comfortable shoes to train in that support our style of training. And example here, right? I did this workout last week in the Sky Paris. My calves are still feeling it. That was dang near 6-7 days ago, bro. I did it on Wednesday, my long run on Sunday in the Puma Forever Run Nitro Boo. My calves were just completely wrecked for 4 or 5 days in this. So it's not a comfortable shoe. Yes, it's fast. The Cielo X1 was comfortable and decently fast. Now, would I pick this if I were racing an all-out mile? No, but I did do some great 20-mile long runs in it. I did some with mile repeats at marathon pace or faster than marathon pace, which for me was 5:50 per mile. It was just a really fun shoe. Now, it did edge into, for some people, being too heavy to race in, but certainly for training and having a decently durable outsole and durable foam compound here, this thing was great. Our designer here, Barrett, who's been working on the new merch with me, I think he took his pair up to decently high mileage. He posted a review on the Supwell app. So it held up pretty well. Good bounce. I liked the look of it. The laces were the main critique for some people. I said on my first run review that it looked like Christmas ribbons that you might find on a gift here. So there were some issues with it. It was not perfect for sure. And I did have at some points this issue fighting over the middle of the foam, because if you land on the heel at slower paces, you're going to get that bump in the middle. But the rocker was insane. The bounce was insane. Overall, a fun shoe that could go fast when you push it. So that is the context for what we're seeing in the 2.0. I heard, by the way, that they didn't just call this the Cielo X2 because they already have a shoe called the Cielo X2. I guess it's their track shoe. Or it's a track spike. So this is the Cielo X1 2.0. Terrible name, but let's see. I'm excited. I'm nervous. Bada boom. Ooh, bada bang. Let's go. Bro, let's go. I'm hyped for this. So this is basically all new everything, which I'm surprised Hoka did that with this shoe. And it also makes me wonder what's going to go on with the Rocket, right? What's happening with the Rocket X2 now that they have this thing? Because that hasn't seen an update for a while. But man, it feels lighter. This is actually metallic. So this is my first time seeing it in person, holding it in my hands. This blue up here is metallic. It looks like a mermaid blue. There's way more of a performance upper. The last upper was almost a cloth material. It feels like a fabric. Have you ever been to a restaurant, an Italian restaurant or a family restaurant? They have those thick cloth napkins. That's like what the upper is on the Cielo X1. The Cielo X2 is more of that cheesecloth material or vegetable bag material from the grocery store. So it feels like more of a performance fit. It almost seems like they're making it more of a true fast shoe. The other big change that I should note right away is they moved the cutout. People have been, I wouldn't say complain. Some people have been complaining. Apparently this is going to make the stability worse. We'll see. The cutout is now on the inside. You see this cutout here to save weight. It's now going toward the inside of the shoe versus on the first version, the cutout went towards the outside. It overall feels a lot lighter, way more of a performance fit. Still has good rubber. Also still has the weird, dude, this was the one thing that drove me crazy. Why? Hoka, dude, this would be so easy to fix. Why do they just leave this back part exposed with the rubber? I'm wondering, is it supposed to have a smoother feel, smoother landing if you're heel striking? Because look at this. This last one was exposed, and if you're a heel striker, it just tears up the back. Now, it doesn't really add or detract anything from the ride. It's not going to make the shoe that much less durable, but it doesn't help a brand whose main criticism and how they exist in the zeitgeist, how they exist in the internet mind of a lot of runners is not durable. If you want to beat those not durable allegations, just put some rubber right there. And then I wouldn't be showing a shoe with a bunch of wear. But hold on, let me bring my Bandai over. I mean, look at this thing. Perfect execution. Ooh, our light is trying to strike. Perfect execution of the heel rubber here. And you can see it has some wear, but it's holding up past 100 miles. By the way, this is one of the best max cushion shoes to come out recently. And Hoka is really making a play. They've been going hard. They've been going hard over the past 2 years, man. Ever since they introduced the Mach series recently in Mach 4, Mach 5, they've been making more of a play for performance and more of a play for running shoe sickos. But this shoe here was a statement to me that, hey, we're coming. We're updating our foams. We're going to be dropping legit shoes, and take note. And they did a really nice job with this update here. The foam is comfortable. It's bouncy, not too soft, not too firm, and a great everyday shoe. And that's the same spirit they're trying to bring to the Cielo X1 2.0, making an update that gives it some more credibility for the people who said it wasn't a real race shoe. I can feel it's lighter. It feels like it's going to be maybe faster. It's narrower, though. That is one of the things we have to watch out for here. How is the stability going to be? And oh my goodness, this is just something I'm noticing right now. This is something that's making me a little bit worried. This is very squishy. This tells me, man, this is giving me PTSD from the Saucony Endorphin Elite and the Adidas Adios Pro 4. Look how squishy this heel is. Now, the thing is, the foam they're using, it's not super soft. It feels like a normal PIBA. It almost feels like a Saucony Power Run PB type of PIBA in terms of the softness and firmness. I can tell it's not going to be a super soft ride, but they've left so much of the foam underneath the plate, and the plate is really high up against the heel here with a ton of foam. I can actually probably measure how much foam we have under the plate. That might be a new record for foam under the plate. Where's my measuring tool? Let me go grab it. Yeah, let's take a look at this. So I zeroed it out. Bro, that's about 30 millimeters of foam. Do you see that? That's 32, almost 32 millimeters of foam underneath the plate. I have no idea how that's going to respond. The Cielo X2 also has a decent, or X1 has a decent amount. Okay, that makes me feel less nervous, but if you do the squish test again, the X1, the OG, is not squishing as much. There's more structure to it because, look, it's connected here. They didn't completely scoop it out, versus in the X2, they scooped it out. So are they sacrificing speed for comfort or speed for stability? That is one of the questions we'll have to answer today. It certainly seems like that's the direction they're headed, which is interesting because they do have the Rocket in their lineup still. This looks to me like they took the Rocket X1 and smashed it together with the Cielo X1. So I'm interested to see how it rides. The upper looks comfortable. It overall looks like a fun, fast shoe. We're just going to have to see. Let's put it through the gamut of tests here, lab tests and weight. And we'll see how it does. Kobe. All right, I was doing all the B-roll shots, but I want to say before I forget, my worry with this shoe, and I was saying this yesterday, is that with the Pegasus Premium, I like that it has character. I like that it spikes in certain areas versus the rest of the market. It's different. It's special. It provides a ride that makes me smile. And that's exactly what the Cielo X1 did. And I'm worried that the changes they've made in the 2.0 removed all that character. We'll see. But people said it was too heavy. Okay, we're going to lighten up the weight. Even the laces, right? People didn't like the laces, so they put normal laces on it. They did address the criticism, but there's a line between addressing the criticism and fixing issues versus removing the heart and soul to make it like everything else. And this happens a lot in automotive. The cars that are fun just get neutered to become easier to drive in for everyone else. So the reason we like this, yes, it was heavy, but it was stable and it was protective. So far, seems like the stability and protectiveness, the protection is still going to be there, but we'll just have to see with the stability. All right, weighing in the X1 2.0. Let's just get a close-up. Let's get a close-up on the weight right here. This is a moment of truth. We're going to do the first one first, 270.5. You know we can't let them off the hook with the QA. This was the shoe, by the way, the X1, that brought out the scale for the first time. Again, so a lot of this shoe gave me a lot of the things we have now on the channel. 257.5. on the right foot. This is what I'm saying with the Hoka QA. Somebody actually posted on the app, Supple app, they posted a new pair of Bandai, and they said the QA on this pair is spot on. So that's something that Hoka's been dealing with as well, just their quality control with the products as they scale up. But let's see the new one. This one feels a lot lighter. Left one coming in at, woo! Look at that, man. Holy cow. 225 grams versus 270. Wow. Let's go get the rocket. Dude, that's crazy. Bro, that's crazy. Let's see with the rocket. Yeah, my guy, that's lighter. That's lighter than the Rocket X1, my guy. I don't know why I'm speaking with a Canadian accent, my guy. Crody. Yeah, that's lighter than the Rocket X1. Dude, so this is what I'm saying. It seems like they took the X1 and they smashed it with the Cielo X1. But let's see. Maybe the other pair, the other side is going to be like 255 or something because the QA. Let's check. No, I don't think so. It feels pretty light too. So 225 on the left, and the right is... Ooh, Hoka said, put some respect on my QA. They're beating those allegations today. 224.5 grams. Put some respect on the Hoka QA department. Where's the little sticker? There's usually a little sticker in here that says QC. Where's the gosh dang sticker? No, there's no sticker. Man, that's light, dude. That is really light. That's light for a race shoe, but that's also light for a light race shoe. I've been talking about the cruisers and the bruisers. This seems like it might be a bruiser. Let me throw on some of the other race shoe favorites in just categories so you can see how gosh dang light that is. All right, first, Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. 232 grams. It's lighter than the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. That is crazy. That's crazy. Nike Alphafly 3. 220. 221. And remember, this is 200 and... The lighter one was 224.5 or 225. Dude, 4 grams difference. You can't feel that. That's within a margin of error, too, of even just manufacturing. So it's essentially tied for weight with the Alphafly 3. Bro, that's crazy. Puma DV8 Nitro 3. The Puma DV8 Nitro 3 is lighter. It's 10 grams lighter. This is a bruiser type of shoe as well. This is a shoe where you run fast, but it does have some cruising capability to it with this foam. And because it's a firmer foam, it's not super squishy. You can see there's some structure to this and some good support. This is a shoe that works well across a variety of pace ranges. All right, Hot Mess V4 here, coming in at 212.5. Very light. But again, this goes back to what I'm saying. For me personally, I'm not always going to choose the lightest shoe if the ride doesn't work. I did not like the ride of the Hot Mess here, Audi Zero Hot Mess. And this is the exact issue we were talking about. Look at this thing. The heel just completely collapses in on itself. So no structure back here. I was bottoming this thing out. And then let's throw on last one here. This is another one of my favorites from the soft and fun, bouncy category of shoes. 224 grams. I almost raced my marathon in this one. It was between this, the Endorphin Elite, and the Alphafly 3. I ultimately chose the Endorphin Elite for that 239 at Chicago. But, bro, 224 grams. That's the same exact weight as the X1 2.0. So, on paper here, they have completely changed the game. They've changed what this shoe is. That's wild. All right, stack check time. All right, man. Let us see the stack of the X1 2.0. How much stack do we have in the back? I'm going to take it slightly farther up than I normally do. Let's see. Oh, and this one is hard. Okay, so this is where some of the issues with the stack methodology here come into play, because you can see the resting point of the shoe is in the middle and the back isn't actually touching the ground. The back is elevated, so I'm going to have to tip this back so it's more resting flat here. And that's just an interesting thing to note about the geometry, it's flat through the heel to the midfoot here, but the resting point and where actually the center of gravity is right up at this midfoot point, right under the forefoot. This is where the most foam is. Let me grab my calipers to measure this part of the foam right here, just from the outside. Oh, what the heck? We're in inches? No. It was in francs. What's an F? mm/in/f. All right, this is about, this is higher than 40 in the front here. At least on the outside, you get about 45 millimeters, maybe even more. Between 45 and 48 millimeters of stack up in the forefoot on the outside. Your foot is also sitting down in that. So, yeah, they do wrap it. Ooh, I wonder if that's going to cause some blistering issues because they're wrapping this foam. You can see this part here. But above 40 under the forefoot, which is crazy. So we'll see how this feels for heel striking, because that potentially creates some of those issues where it could be a negative drop sensation. If on the back here, we're coming in below 45. Oh, it's in, why is this thing in inches too? Bro, Barefoot Mafia just came out in here last night and was messing with my measuring tools. All right, there we go. Trying to throw me off. It's like that organized crime organization is the Manson family. They used to go into people's houses and just reorganize their furniture. Boom. 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 46 millimeters of stack in the back of the Cielo X1 2.0. That's crazy. That's high. Let's check against the V1 here. I'm going to try to get it from the same spot. 45. So just about the same. And the Cielo X1 also has the OG, has about 80 miles on it, maybe 70 miles. So it's maybe compressed down. So similar. Let's check our back. Do we need to check any more stacks? Should we check any more stacks here? I don't think we need to check any more stacks. I can tell you, though, that is higher than all of the other race shoes, so it still is using that creative trickeration to get an above legal stack while keeping it legal. Well, what I did want to check here was a width measurement, because that is a predictor of stability a lot of the time. So at the widest point here on the OG, we have 87 millimeters of width. On the 2.0, 79. So 10% narrower. It's what? Was it 20% lighter? 20% lighter, 10% narrower with the same stack? And maybe they changed the foam compound so it was different. So this seems like it's going to be a much faster shoe. I just hope it didn't lose what made it special, because there's so many fast shoes on the market. There's so many options if you just want something fast. Oh gosh, camera down. But seriously, look at this. The Hot Mess V4, the Cloudboom Strike, the Puma DV8 Nitro 3, the Alphafly 3, and the Sky Paris. Some of the best fast race shoes on the market. Not all of them are my personal favorites, but these are some of the top choices. There's not a lot of shoes out there that could do what the X1 OG did. So we'll see. Did it lose its heart and soul? I really hope not. Where's mommy? Charles? What are your thoughts?
Ooh, that's cool.
Cool?
Yeah. It looks different than I expected it to. Is this the
X1 V2?
Okay.
2.0, yeah.
Cielo X2.
Yeah, no, they're calling it the X1. Oh, yeah.
It looks really different than the other one.
Yeah, I know.
And
It's super light compared to the first one. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
just the design language.
A lot less. Do you think it's gonna be like more better for faster runners?
I think that's what they're trying to do with it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, right?
Yeah, I'm just worried that they made it to
So what the heck?
the cutout.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Is that bad for people who?
That's what people say, unstable.
Is that pronate?
Yeah, that's what people are saying. that it could be worse than your design.
I wonder though, or if they just figured out the right geometry.
Also, look at this.
So it's not an issue. Do you pronate?
No.
Pronate? Do I overpronate?
I don't think so. Well, we're gonna find out.
Oh, I guess we will.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What's your prediction? Banger or mid?
I feel like Hoka does a good job.
Hoka doesn't miss. All right, that's the prediction.
I'm hopeful.
Bro, that is not Supple certified. Hold on. No floppy laces on this side. Here's the thing with this, man. If I wanted an Alphafly, I would buy an Alphafly. It's like some people say, oh, the Chevy Suburban is way too big. I would never drive that behemoth gas guzzler. It's a Barefoot Mafia type thing to say. But you know what Chevy does not do? They don't take the Suburban and shrink it. They say, okay, you can get the Equinox. You can get the Traverse. We have different options for you. People who say the Mazda Miata is too small. Well, you're not going to buy a Mazda Miata if you have a family and you need a family car. So you buy something different. This also reminds me of the people who stop by here just to tell me my videos are too long. It's like if I just start going into random car dealerships and yelling, I am not going to buy the Chevrolet Suburban. Just going up to all the car dealers saying, the Chevrolet Suburban is too big for me. I'm not in the market to buy it, but I'm not going to buy it. Okay, bro. You don't have to buy it. You don't. No one's forcing you to buy it if you don't want to buy it. Stepping into the Cielo X1 here, this does have way more of that speed performance fit in terms of how this upper is cinching down to my feet. I also really do like the black. It's almost a pastel faded white with the high contrast black. It's a sharp look. It's a sharp look. It's murdered out almost, but it's not. You know what I mean? Yeah, it looks great from above. This feels like a shoe I could race in. It does have that super wobbly front to back feel. The rocker is so aggressive because most of this foam is up in the forefoot, and it seems like this platform really wants you to land right here, almost like the Alphafly, right? All this foam is almost equivalent to that Alphafly AirPod up in the front. Trying to get a read on how squishy this foam is. Hold on, let's do a walk test. So I don't overpronate, and I can basically run in anything, and I do run in anything and everything. But man, it's weird. This cutout and the bottom geometry almost feels like it is turning my ankles inward, even just walking. Something about the bottom here makes me feel like I want to be pushed to the inside when I was walking. And I don't know if you could see it. Maybe I'll grab that footage and try to slow it down. But it felt like my ankle was turning a bit, like I was overpronating just walking. So it is very high. It has that Bambi feeling, but the benefit is the foam is not super soft squishy. This is not as soft as the Endorphin Elite Adios Pro 4, nowhere near as soft as those shoes. I wouldn't even call this a soft foam at all. It feels like it's in that middle zone. The Cielo X1 was comfort soft, like a Ghost Max 2, but not compressive soft. When we think of compressive, that's the foams collapse in on themselves. This foam does not feel like it's going to collapse. So it does have that inherent structure, but it feels narrow and it feels very tall. This is high up off the ground. The 46 millimeters with the 90, what was it, only 90 something or 80 something millimeter width heel, that feels tall and narrow. There's almost there should be a ratio, right, where if it's above more than a 2-to-1 width to height ratio, it's going to be mildly unstable. That's what this feels like. But fit is true to size here. We got to get our workout in. Let me show you the run for today. They want this thing to be fast, so we're going to see if it's fast. Book of Daniels, page 190. Oh gosh. All right, here we go. This is my 5th one of these speed workouts from this microcycle here, and this is what we're tackling today. 4x200. That's basically just a warm-up into 2x800 into 4x200. So the meat of this is the 2x800. Bro, those are gonna feel long. This is supposed to be at a 450 per mile pace. We'll see how much mustard we can keep on the dog today. We're just gonna give it the best shot. My legs aren't feeling as beat up as they have been the past few days, and the body remembers effort. So I'm just gonna give this the best effort I can. And this is gonna be a great test of the Cielo X1, because people always said the last one was too slow or not a fast shoe. This is, if I can hit these at the correct pace, this is a pace that a lot of elite marathoners race their marathons at. So you can't race much faster than these paces for a marathon. So we'll see. How does it do for these paces? All right, let's go do this thing. All right, well, it is now raining, so we're gonna get the wet weather grip test as well. This is not gonna be fun. Man. Yeah, a few things already here. Something about this shoe feels like it's pushing me to the inside. Also, this is most definitely, you have to be up on your forefoot here. You can't heel strike in the shoe. It's not that this is not a shoe for heel strikers, because I am a heel striker, but it just literally will not let you heel strike because there's no heel to land on because of the midfoot bump. But out of the gates here, it feels fairly similar to the first one. Narrower, yes. But a decent comfort and protection in the front. And it's not super soft. It's almost firm, weirdly. Yeah, so far it feels pretty similar to the last one. I'm not getting a crazy bounce. Also, it's legit raining. I was not expecting this. We're gonna have to do these 800s in the rain, which is just complete trash. It's also cold again. Gosh. I think it's supposed to be raining for the rest of the week. I forgot. Almost at mile 1 here. Feels like this is working my calves a lot too. Now maybe they're still just sore from last week in that workout in the Sky Paris. But it also does feel like, because this is pushing me up onto my toes so aggressively, my calves are working a lot. And I'm just at a warm-up pace here. Mile 1, 7:28. So far this is fine. It's not giving me a crazy amount of bounce, but I'm also just running at a warm-up pace. It is forcing me to run different than I normally would. I'm just gonna give it some time. Let's just say it's not blowing me away out of the box. But I almost feel like they really do want this to be a fast shoe, because picking it up on the forefoot That's when I do feel that bounce. So I'm gonna do some strides here to warm up. Yeah, better bounce when I pick it up. Yeah, maybe it's me. Maybe I do overpronate, but it really feels like this shoe is actively pushing my foot inward in a way that I don't get with other race shoes. Where it's not just a narrowness thing. Maybe it's the cutout, maybe it's something else. And it's only really happening on the side where I know I have a weakness. So it could be me, really could. But then that just makes me wonder if this is not gonna be the shoe for someone with stability needs, even mild. Doing a few strides here to warm up. This feels like a bruiser. This feels like a bruiser type shoe that needs some power to activate. Firmer foam, target landing zone in the forefoot. Honestly, not the bounciest. And that's one of the things that was great about the OG. It felt good at slower paces. This doesn't feel that good to me at slower paces. This feels like I really have to crank it to get it going. I wonder if they're gonna take the Skyward X and have that be the replacement for the Cielo OG. Because there was a fair bit of overlap in use case there. All right, we're almost at mile 2 here. I'm gonna start these 200s. So far, these are just okay. I'm wondering if it's gonna take some break-in, some time, some softening up, but it feels more similar to a normal race shoe with a lot of those sharp edges that I loved in the OG rounded off. Yes, it's lighter, but it's also more unstable. Not in a charming way, because the bounce I'm getting isn't as good as a shoe like even the Endorphin Elite. So they made a weird trade-off here. So far, they made it lighter and more unstable, but so far not bouncier. And they made it faster, but so far it seems like it's still not the fastest. It's just a confusing update to me, given they already have the Rocket in their lineup. Honestly, it feels like a more cushioned, less stable version of the Rocket. Right, I'm gonna start cranking these 200s. This is not fun. Running is supposed to be fun.
This is why I don't ask the brands to send me shoes, because then I have to say things like, I'm really not that impressed so far, and feel bad that they just gave me a $300 shoe and I'm gonna say it's mid. I don't know if it's mid, but it's just, I'm just not impressed so far. There's a lot of cushion in the forefoot, but it doesn't have that bounce. Something about the bounce isn't there. It's almost like, so I'm hitting fast paces. I'm hitting 440s and 450s on these 200s. But the turnover doesn't feel as easy as the other shoes in this 220 gram range. So they've made it lighter, but maybe I'm just getting distracted by the lightweight, and I thought it would be faster than it is because of that. I'm still trying to figure it out. Definitely not as fast as a shoe like the Sky Paris, and doesn't feel as bouncy as the Alphafly, but protection is much better than either of those shoes, and the comfort from the foam. But again, the narrowness makes it feel weird. So I'm just confused what the intended purpose of this is. Is it supposed to be a fast elite shoe? Because I thought that was the Rocket. And is it a cruiser designed for 330 marathoners and longer, like the last version? And if so, why wouldn't you just keep the weight? This is gonna take some miles to figure out. But yeah, I'm jogging down now to my spot where I do just a flatter spot where I can do the 800s. They are gonna be painful, I can tell you that. I know we always have this discussion on the heel striking, forefoot striking schism, the dichotomy. So more relaxed miles, I'm definitely closer to the heel, but 440 pace, I'm closer to the forefoot. And so if I'm up at the forefoot and I'm trying to hit fast speeds, I want something that flings me along, that gives me a lot of bounce. And if I'm at the heel, I want cushion and stability. This so far doesn't have either of those, because there's not that support in the heel and there's not that fast snap in the front. So maybe it's, here's what I'm thinking, it could be more of that long run shoe where I'm landing more up at the mid, closer to the midfoot, closer to my true marathon pace. And in that case, the additional weight savings here, or the weight savings, would make it a viable option for a marathon. But I'm not doing a long run today. I'm probably gonna end this workout around. Bro, I just dropped the GoPro and it flew. I dropped it and then I kicked it by accident. Hopefully my footage is still there. Bro, there was a police officer posted up in his Ford Explorer right here yesterday when I was doing my afternoon double. This is where I usually empty the bladder, so I thought someone had reported me and I was about to get nabbed for public indecency. It didn't happen though. I was just thinking to myself, at least I'm on my peg premiums, so I could be fresh as heck with the feds watching. All right, I'm gonna start this right here. The cornering, I swear, back on a is really good. The cornering was really good. It's sticky. This feels like a sticky planted shoe. It's giving me, this is what's giving me Adios Pro 3 vibes. I actually don't even have those anymore. But that's what it's given me, which is a shoe that I never personally loved. But I think if you did love that shoe, you might love this. Very similar. Bro, I'm completely smashed from that. I also could not hit the pace. I was slow. 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 5 flat pace. Just a step slow. Quick trail test. Stability is actually okay. I'm finding a new spot where I won't get arrested. Dude, when I stopped, my legs were legit trembling, shaking. These are almost all out efforts every time. These are crazy workouts. Yeah, once I get to the end of the street here, I'm gonna turn around, let the next one fly. The comfort is getting better in these as I get deeper into the run. I do think this is still on the cruiser end of the spectrum. They lightened it up, but it's not shining for this workout as I thought it might, given the lighter weight. Just so far it doesn't have that pop off the front. But again, that's what the rocket is for, theoretically. All right, second 800, second and last 800. These workouts are honestly miserable. Can't wait till the speed block is over. All right, see you on the other side of this. 4:57 pace. I'm still a touch slow today. I was knocking these 600s in the low 450s. I'm also just looking at the watch and seeing the 5:06 and getting in my head. Either way, those are two of the fastest 800s I've ever hit back to back. Just know it wasn't my best or fastest, but it's training. We don't need best or fastest, and for my purposes here, doing this to improve my marathon time, 4:57 pace, 5:10 pace, 4:40 pace, it's all roughly similar. It's not a game of seconds right now because I'm not training for an actual fast mile. Also, it's wet and I'm not on a track, and these are designed to be on a track. So all things considered, that was pretty solid. I just felt like I couldn't really dig and let it fly till the last 200. You guys know the Tim Noakes central governor theory? Highly debated, maybe debunked even. But there is something to it of not letting ourselves, our brain, not letting our body push to the max or near maximal effort if we're not used to that. But that's the whole point of doing a workout like this, to increase the ceiling of our capacity. This is where I typically do my 200s. There's a truck with flashing lights. I'm just gonna give it a go and close it out. Nostalgia is a heck of a drug. Last one. Nostalgia is a heck of a drug, man. I always say that. I almost feel like no matter what they did with this update, I would find something to be mad at because I just have such a connection to that OG. And we can get like that with things that we love. This is definitely different. I don't think this is the optimal workout for this shoe. 440 and 450 pace. I was hitting the paces or pretty close to it, but just wasn't coming as easily as some of the other shoes I've used for this workout. There is a lot of foam in the midfoot. And for me, putting the power down, I benefit from having that snap on the plate. And I'm not getting that for these paces, but the trade-off, right, is the protection in the cushion. So I have a feeling this is gonna really shine for a long run. All right, we're on mile 7.63. I'm gonna get it to 8 miles here and take these puppies off. Me llamo Dos Cadenas, bebe, buenas noches. You know what that means? My name is 2 Chains. 2 Chains, baby. Good night. Oh, I'm not even at 8 miles. Are you kidding me? Alright, that's disrespectful. Sorry. Oh my gosh, this is a lot more running than I thought. What the heck? Bro, you really can't get that much mileage on a sidewalk. But we couldn't end it at 7.87. That would have been completely disrespectful. An 8-mile run in the books. Oh gosh. These got super dirty because we went off-roading. But I also didn't get arrested, so that's a win. Yeah, look at that on the inside. That's disgusting. I'm going to clean that up right away.
Yeah, first run here, solid. It's going to take me a while to figure these out. This could either end up being an amazing marathon shoe or just a comfortable long run shoe. The stability actually got better as I got into the run, and the fact that this foam isn't super soft squishy is nice. I've been railing against the super soft squishy foams, which this is not. And I really like that. The puzzling thing to me, though, is as I was digging, I wasn't getting as much pop off as I expected, but it really does remind me of that last gen Light Strike Pro where it's firmer, denser. Maybe it's even going to require as much break-in as the last gen Light Strike Pro. And you can even see we're starting to get some lines here. So I think this is one that's going to give us some questions. It's going to take some time to break in. I know a lot of you boys don't have time. You want to get blasted in the face with immediate insights. Just, insights coming at me this way, insights coming at me that way. I don't have time, insights. It's crazy the difference that 1 year makes. Because running in the Cielo OG, the X1 OG, it felt like an extremely different experience. And I came out here yesterday in the Nike Pegasus Premium after having run dozens of miles in mid shoes last week. I'm going on a tangent again about the Glycerin 22 and the Forever Run Nitro 2. And landing at this place of enjoyment, excitement, enthusiasm about the Pegasus Premium because it delivered something different and fun. And that was very similar to the Cielo X1 from a year ago, very similar to the Skyward X from a year ago. The Cielo X1 was actually a year ago. January 31st, 2024 was when I did my first run in that. And I know because it was Roni's birthday, her literal day of being born. Fast forward a year later to this, and having put 80 miles in the Cielo X1, having put hundreds of miles, maybe even thousands of miles across other race shoes, it no longer feels like the most fun, most special, most different shoe on the market. So that is informing my analysis here. And I think part of the reason why I'm not blown away with it and why it's hard, right? Nostalgia is a heck of a drug, as I've said before. And that first shoe was so special to me. This does have some key differences. So let's go through them before we talk about the run, before we talk about anything else. How is this different from the OG? Well, narrower heel. Narrower heel here. They've moved the cutout from the outside to the inside of the shoe. I also did get some dirt. People always ask me how I keep my shoes clean. It's because whenever something like this happens, I wipe it down immediately. I'm going to take some dish soap and I'm going to take a towel to these. I already did take a paper towel to this side, but I didn't see that part. Yeah, narrower heel. They moved the cutout to the inside, and they've overall streamlined the shoe a lot more. The upper is lighter weight. They put new laces. They put a different back on the shoe. It feels like more of a normal race shoe upper with the heel from the Clifton. So lighter, narrower, more streamlined. The same, what's similar to the last version, the foam feels very similar to the last version. The comfort is still there. I'm not getting as much bounce, but maybe that's just because this wasn't the optimal run for it, or I'm not working with the platform as well as I should be. Let's throw up the run from today. So I did 8 miles. It was not really about a distance. This wasn't a mileage run, which is why I'm thinking maybe I used the shoe incorrectly, and a lot of people love telling me I use shoes incorrectly. I got told I used the Glycerin 22 incorrectly. How the heck do you use the Glycerin 20? Isn't that the definition of a shoe that you can use for anything? You use it for walking, you use it for going to the car wash, you use it for running, you can use it for running a marathon. I don't know. But this was a fast workout. Goal was to get down to 450, 5 flat. I hit the paces decently. It wasn't my fastest of this microcycle of speed I'm doing, but it also wasn't the worst. It was just okay, but sometimes that's all we need. If you can execute most of your workouts at a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, not get injured, you will get faster. So that was what it was today. I wasn't completely emptying the tank, and that's what I'm noticing. These workouts are starting to get easier. So the workout was 4 by 200 meters at roughly 36 seconds or a 450 pace, and I don't do them all at exactly 400 meters or 200 meters. I do them a little bit longer, usually on the 200s. I hit those, and then it was into 2 by 800 meters. That was the hardest part of the workout. Again, shooting for that 450 pace. I was closer to 5 flat on the first one, and then I think I hit a 457 on the second one, and then ended with 4 by 200 meters on a slight downhill area, and I could really get the legs turning over. So for this pace today, right out of the gates at those 200s, I didn't feel that I was getting the bite and the snap of some of the fastest shoes out there, like the Alphafly, like even the Cloudboom Strike, for example. The toe off feels lively, or something like the Asics Metaspeed Sky Paris, which is very aggressive. So it does not have that aggression to it, and I was trying to figure out, is it a bruiser? Are they shifting it more to be that aggressive shoe, more similar to the Rocket X2, because it's now also lighter than the Rocket X2. Rocket X2 weighed in at 238 grams. This one weighed in at 225 grams, so significantly lighter than the Rocket X2. They've done a nice job lightening this up, so we do have to give them a big thumbs up for shaving the weight. And they didn't completely remove what made this shoe good in the last version, and that was what I was worried about, so you don't have to be worried about there. But it's just, with it becoming so light, I thought it would perform better for this workout. Now, 99% of people watching this video are likely not going to be doing this style of training, 1500 meter to 2 mile training. The only reason I'm doing this is because I really want to get faster at this top end speed to run this sub 230 marathon. And most people aren't going to be running 450 pace repeats. So it could handle it, but it wasn't giving me the most speed assistance at those paces. It did not feel like the optimal shoe. Similar to how the Alphafly is not the optimal shoe for going to the grocery store. This is not the optimal shoe for 450 pace. It is most definitely not a bruiser in the same vein as the Sky Paris or even the Alphafly. And so at those paces, it did okay. The protection was great. The comfort was great. And as I warmed up into the run, I actually thought the stability in the beginning wasn't the best, but as I warmed up into the run and started to work with the platform, landing more up on the midfoot to forefoot, the stability got better. And even as I was landing down at the back towards the end, the stability got better. So this seems like a shoe that's gonna take some time to open up and to conform to your foot. And it's not a crazy banger out of the box. I'm not getting crazy bounce. It does feel like more of a reliable, solid shoe. That is why we like the Cielo X1. It had that reliability to it. Yes, it had the fun, but it had that stability, it had the bounce, it had the comfort and the confidence, and that's what I'm getting here still. The forefoot is nice and protective, the midfoot is nice and protective. The rocker is extremely aggressive, but it's not a grip and rip type of shoe where I'm gonna be going all out 5K, 10K. Now, most of the people watching this channel, again, that's not what they're looking for out of this shoe, and it is, to me, seeming on this first run like more of a marathon shoe. So I want to do that 20-mile long run test. That's really what's going to give the final verdict on it. But let's go through our 3 questions today in terms of how it stacks up versus its intended purpose, the category, and the market. So intended purpose, I was not actually quite sure, but it still does seem like they're designing this to be that comfort marathon shoe, and it is a very comfortable shoe. The upper fit is great. They've improved that. They've dialed it in. The lacing system is much better. The lightweight does even improve that comfort, because some people found the last one was too heavy, too clunky, a chore to run in. This doesn't feel heavy or clunky. It feels that they've tightened it up overall a lot from that last generation. Now, the stability and the narrowness, not as good as the OG. Now, I thought it was potentially going to be unstable, and did the cutout change the ride a little bit? Perhaps 5%, perhaps, but compared to other shoes in this category, it's nowhere near as hard to work with as the Sky Paris or even maybe the Puma Deviate Nitro. It still does have a nice substantial feel to it. So even though they've shaved off 10 millimeters of width on the back, I feel comfortable enough where if I were going on a 30-mile long run or a 4-hour run, I would be okay running in this. But it still does have that quality where it puts me up on the midfoot to the forefoot. So compared to the intended purpose, the comfort is there. I feel confident in it. The high-end speed, not as good as other shoes, and not even as good as other shoes in Hoka's lineup, like the Rocket X2, but it doesn't seem that that's what the intended purpose is, even though they made it light. And I think that's where I was getting confused or just questioning what is this shoe trying to be, because it is now in a place in between the Rocket X2 and the Cielo, but they still do have the Rocket X2, and I saw they actually updated the colorway of the Rocket X2. They are coming out with one that's more similar to this, so they're still going to be pushing that one. So for somebody who wants a more aggressive feel for a workout like this, they still do have an option in that lineup. This is most certainly still not an aggressive shoe. If I were going for a fast half marathon, I would not pull this shoe. I would pull the Sky Paris or the Rocket X2 or the Alphafly. So this is still more of that comfort cruiser. I want to test it on that 20-mile long run to see how it does. But for today's run, it did fine, and it left my legs feeling protected. That is another key difference. Now let's go to question number 2 versus the other shoes in the category. So much more comfortable. My legs are not getting as torn up as they were in the Sky Paris, and the rocker really is good too here. That is still one of the best qualities, that rocker, and I think it's gonna shine even more at slower paces, slower than 450, slower than 5, and that more that cruising, plodding along pace. That was what was so great about the Cielo X1, the OG. At those slower paces, it just felt like a daily trainer. It wasn't hard to work with. It was easy to bop along. This still does have that. And I remember even in the X1 OG, out of the gates sometimes, I would feel that I was fighting against that midfoot bump, and it took a while to warm up into the shoe. So similar to the Adidas Adios Pro 3, that's the shoe that keeps coming in my mind. Similar to that shoe, it's going to take some time to work with it. It's not a banger, amazing, mind-blowing bounce right out of the box. It's going to take some miles to break in, but it can become, I'm predicting, that solid, reliable shoe. That's what it feels like to me, which brings me to question number 3. How does it compare to everything else on the market? Not the fastest, not the lightest, not the most aggressive, but it could be one of the most comfortable shoes out there. It's just the lack of that wide base is the big question mark, and that is what made the Adios Pro 3 so great as well. I don't have it here to measure, but it did have a wider heel, a wider, more substantial heel. The nice thing about this, though, is the foam is not super soft and squishy. It does feel a lot like that last generation Lightstrike Pro. So if you miss the feeling of the Adios Pro 3, you can still actually find some of those on sale. You can find those on the Supwell app, but this gives 90% of the same ride, and it's lighter than the Adios Pro 3. That thing was, what, 250 grams in my size, 260 grams in my size, so 15-20% lighter, maybe, depending on your size. I'm gonna guess somewhere between 10 and 17% lighter, with decent grip too. That's one of the things I was really surprised about. So even though the plate and the foam doesn't have the most aggressive bite, this forefoot rubber was nice, and it was wet out here. And when I was doing that first repeat, I actually had to turn some corners and swerve and bend along the way here. So that's probably why I was slower too, and I wasn't hitting the paces. But the forefoot rubber and the platform felt very planted. It was gripping, and I didn't feel weird or not confident or unsure at all turning those corners. And I was flying at a 5:05, 5 flat pace. So very comfortable with speed and plantedness in the front here. And you can see the front is actually wider than the back. So it is designed for you to land up here. That's where it's most comfortable. That's where you're gonna get the benefit of the rocker. That's where you're gonna get the benefit of the rubber. And that is very similar to the Adios Pro 3. That also had a heel that felt slightly weird to land on. That also had a denser foam. That also had the comfort for up here. So if you're a bigger runner who liked this shoe, who liked it for time on feet, who liked the comfort, maybe you're doing 8, 9, 10-minute paces, this seems like it's still gonna be that viable choice. Again, this is a first run review, and I need to do a longer run test to really put it through the paces at what it's intended to do, which is be a marathon shoe, but they did not mess it up. That's the headline here. People wanted to know. People asked me, I'm going to buy this shoe no matter what, unless they messed it up. Actually, people didn't even say that. My guy, Tony Brinkman, he said, dude, I don't care what you say. I'm going to buy it regardless, but I still want to see your review. So it doesn't feel like they messed it up. The lighter weight is likely going to be a benefit on the longer run. I didn't feel a benefit of the lighter weight on this shorter, faster workout today because it just doesn't have that aggressive character to it. It has a lot of foam in the forefoot here, so it was almost deadening the impact, which is good, right? You want that impact absorption, but the trade-off was that I wasn't getting as quick of a roll through and turnover as I would have in a more streamlined shoe, at least in the height, but the protection is there. My legs feel much better today than they did in the Sky Paris, and it also does have more of that substantial feel, similar
or even better than the Diodora Gara last week, which is super soft. So not a super soft, squishy shoe. I've been going hard against these soft, squishy platforms that just feel like a mess to run in. This does not feel like a mess to run in. It's very solid. There is nothing wrong with it, which is what I look for in a marathon shoe. So even though I'm not singing this praises of it's the most different, banger, crazy thing out there, I'm thinking with some more miles, I'm going to warm up to it. And at the very least, it's not a mess, it's not a miss, and it's likely going to be an enjoyable shoe for long runs or for marathons. It could be a nice sub-3 marathon shoe now that the weight is lower. So good job on the update. They retained a lot of what made the last version special. I'm always going to have a special place in my heart for the last version, so I don't know if they could ever replace that for me. But I'm looking forward to getting some more miles on this thing. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Oh, last thing I was gonna say, these are going out of stock. The Hobby Jogger quarter zips. My hands are also freezing. I didn't realize it was down in the freezing American again, and it's getting cold. But yeah, these are going out of stock. I learned from the vendor that they're literally not making these Champion quarter zips anymore. Where's the Champion thing? Right here. So if you want one, hobbyjogger.com. We're also getting the new merch coming soon, like the bottles. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Bro, it's cold. Ah.